Hello, Gemini. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Gemini is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment, consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. If there is anything you would like me to pray over, or meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is a general reading, so try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Gemini, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. And here's the Fool card. Wonderful energy. This is a very playful energy, very carefree, very, kind of very like light in responsibilities, you know? This is somebody I think that is kind of like looking for a sense of direction, or feeling like life is kind of just pushing them in different directions. There's not much of a need for control. Okay, this is almost like a surrendering to the cosmic winds. You know, like a feather on the wind or a cork on the cosmic ocean. And with that cork, it kind of feels like there is there's a lack of direction, a lack of focus. Okay, and I don't mean that in a bad way. I kind of feel as if you aren't really looking for anything in particular. You're just kind of enjoying the ride. You're kind of seeing what life has for you, where things might open up for you, and what possibilities present themselves. Okay, sometimes the Fool is kind of ready to take a leap into something. Yeah, ready to trust in things. Already is, in a way, right? Kind of trusting that wherever the universe is kind of nudging you, that's where you're supposed to be. There's not much resistance here. Yeah. And so I feel like you're somebody right now who is maybe in the middle of a kind of a selection process. Okay. I kind of feel like there are a lot of doors around you, and it's just kind of like, wherever you tend to drift in, that's where you're going to go. Yeah. So there's a real lightness here. And it may be that there's no pressure. And sometimes when there's no pressure, it's just kind of like I feel like there's a drift type of energy. There's no pressure on you. So maybe we need a little bit of pressure. Maybe we need something to come along and say, hey, you better choose a door. You better choose kind of a direction pretty quick. Okay? Because if there is no pressure, for either from outside or from inside, we may linger here too long. We may just kind of be bobbing up and down, floating in place, and miss out on a lot. It may be that it's time that we just sort of select something and do it and commit ourselves to it. Right now, the Fool is free. Has like no obligations, no pressure. Let's see what's going on here, okay? Let's put this card into a little bit of context. Well, there's pressure. Holy cow. That's pressure. Okay, 10 of Wands. That's the most pressure that we could feel. So now this is a huge weight of responsibility landing on you. Yeah. Okay, well, let's keep going. We have a Knight of Cups, the Three of Swords. We have a Lust or Strength card. We have a Four of Wands. Yeah, okay. I kind of have an idea what's going on here. We have a Star. We have a Four of Cups. We have a Princess of Swords. And we have a Queen of Wands. So I feel like there is some kind of a high-pressure thing kind of landing in your lap. This might be a career thing. This might be a creative obligation, or some kind of a big responsibility The timing here kind of feels chaotic. It feels like the Fool is just kind of feeling free and just kind of hanging out here. Then suddenly, bam, like Emeril Lagasse in that show of his, bam, comes the responsibility. And suddenly there's a heavy weight on you. It's an obligation. It is pressure. Okay? And this is also a pressure type of card. I'll tell you why. The Queen of Wands is associated with Sagittarius. Sagittarius is the Art or Temperance card. The Art or Temperance card is the pressure cooker. This is somebody who is responding to the pressure cooker. This is somebody that's rising to the occasion and meeting the challenge. Okay? And so that's why we kind of had this Fool energy, and I kept feeling like there's just like a lightness, there's not really any particular thing that's pushing you, or it's just kind of, we're just floating around. Here is all of that extraordinary pressure, okay? And I think this is some kind of a career or a, maybe a creative responsibility that sort of is landing in your lap faster than you expected. The timing feels like it's kind of chaotic. And it may be, in essence, it may be that there are a lot of doors that are opening up kind of like all at once. And the challenge, the pressure now is on realizing that you have to choose. You have to choose the door that's going to align you with your destiny. Choosing the door that aligns the most with your truth. Okay? And I do believe that there is some kind of a conversation or some kind of a call, right? That a message of some kind that changes the direction of your next season. It leads you to kind of a conclusion of one cycle and the beginning of another. And I think it's happening through maybe an air sign person, but I kind of feel that this is some of that energy over here. There's something that sort of calls you out of that safe sort of, free floating. This is like the cork on the ocean. Right? But there's a reason why I think that we've arrived here at this position. But either way, your destiny is not whispering right now, okay? It's knocking loudly, and I don't think you can ignore it. Let's select the mystery card, a bonus card, confirmation card. This is a random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot. This is the factor infinite and unknown. We're going to set this down right over here with Dwight K. Schrute right on top. Bears beats Battlestar Galactica. And we're not going to look at that card until the very end. It will tie everything together, and it will give us the confirmation that we need at the end of the reading. If at any moment during this message you feel like you might know what that card might be, put your prediction in the comment section down beneath the video. All right, now, as we look around the room, we see 1, 2, 3 major arcana energies. The Fool, okay, no sense of direction. The Fool is a big 0, right? The Fool is just pure air, going wherever the wind blows, yeah? So the Fool is free. The Fool has no obligations, and maybe this is kind of like just a general feeling that you have right now. And it may be that you're kind of, you're ready for the next adventure, you're ready for your quest, but you're just kind of like, you're not in a hurry, okay? Or you have your own expectation of the timetables. The Lust card then becomes the need for discipline, because the Fool just kind of expands in every direction, and it has no discipline and no sense of direction, right? It's a pure Fool energy. This Lust card is the discipline. It's the focus. And I think that focus is being sort of presented to you or revealed to you through this star energy. Feels like your destiny is coming through loud and clear and giving you pressure, giving you kind of a moment where it's like you've got to choose which door to walk through. It feels like there's some kind of an obligation landing in your lap. And you weren't expecting it at the time. Like you're kind of lounging in the lawn chair by the pool or something, then here comes Spirit, throws a big pile of work in your lap. Okay? And says, this is what you've got to do. So your destiny is knocking very loudly. We've got fire, fire, fire. We've got water and water. We've got air. We don't have any earth cards, okay? And we don't have any of those earth cards because the Fool is kind of floating and hasn't really begun this particular work, okay? And it could be that you're in between jobs, you're in between projects. It could be that you're just kind of, you're not in a mood where you want to like focus and discipline and like work hard and nose to the grindstone. The Fool's just kind of socializing, having a good time, playing, relaxing. Maybe it's like you're not really ready for obligation or like big time responsibility right now. Spirit's kind of saying, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what you're ready for, right? Here is all of that pressure now. This is the 10 of Wands. This is a lot of responsibility and it's all on your shoulders. Suddenly you're going from being light as a feather to feeling like you're being weighed down with like leaden weights, okay? So it really is the sudden appearance of huge responsibilities. And I don't know if this is just like you're at work and you're just having a good time, you're just doing your job, no big deal. Suddenly someone like taps you and says, you're the boss now. And you're like, okay. I don't know if somebody is quitting, somebody's leaving something, but it's kind of like there's this vacuum that's created. And that vacuum now is kind of like sucking you into it. And it's suddenly you go from zero to hero, right? From no responsibility and no real pressure beyond the normal, right? To suddenly like being the boss or being the one that's responsible for everybody. Or think of some other ways that this might manifest for you. Okay? There is some kind of an absence or some kind of a removal of something, and you're being called to fulfill that role. So it's almost as if you, like somebody has an emergency in their life, and suddenly now you got a cat you got to take care of. You know what I mean? It's a sudden obligation. It's suddenly there's a responsibility that wasn't there before. And I think you're stepping up. I think you realize that this is going to be a very important call to action for you. You are being summoned to step into this role. Okay? It feels like a lot of responsibility that you weren't really looking for. That 10 of Wands shows that it's something that you aren't really going to say no to. And I don't know if it's somebody that like, quick, you got to watch my cat for the next 2 weeks. Something like that. That's how it feels. But I don't know the particular details because I don't think it's happened yet. The earth energy, if we had some earth cards here, maybe we could say, yeah, okay, this has already happened and this is kind of what it might be like. But I feel as if you were not ready for it. You were not expecting it. But now suddenly you have to, you're going to have to make that choice if you're going to accept that responsibility. And take care of whatever this is, you know, whether this is a kind of the job opening, okay, and you have to accept that either you're going to go after that job or take that promotion or accept the role that's being offered to you, okay, or if you're going to try to just kind of remain in this Fool position. Now I'll kind of share a personal story. I was the day job that I had for about 15 years. When I first started, I was driving out in the field, just driving the car and making doing the route. And I loved it out there. There's no pressure. You had to work independently. You had no boss breathing down your neck. You kind of had the freedom to, do your thing and kind of, be by yourself, right? And there was always an offer on the table. There were several times where they said, hey, would you like to come in and be like a supervisor or a manager? Or would you then like supervise the field department? Or do you want to take these other roles in the company? And I would always say no. And they'd offer me money and I'd say, I'm sorry, no, I don't want to do it. And so I was kind of refusing that role. And I feel like if I would have said yes, life would have been a lot different. So this isn't necessarily something that you have to accept, okay? But you do have to kind of decide what you're going to do. It's like the Fool. We can't just ignore it. You have to make a decision. You have to accept it or not accept it. And if you don't accept it, you have to understand why and what that means for your path that you're on. I feel like in your case, this is something that you don't want to refuse, that you realize it's sort of your destiny calling you. It's calling you to a new cycle, a new phase of things for you. Okay? And down beneath the surface, I think, is part of that feeling. Okay? Because the Knight of Cups down here, the Knight of Cups is all about the giving and receiving of love. It's all about taking something that's inside of us and giving it to the world. Being of service, giving our gift, expressing ourselves, creatively or compassionately, right? This is a card of kindness and compassion. So I feel like this is an opportunity that, like, the Fool might want to say no because I wasn't ready. But ultimately, I think that this is drawing something out of you. It's asking you to kind of step up and contribute to this world, to this universe, to the job, to the family, or to the neighborhood, or whatever, right? So it kind of feels like Spirit is saying, hey, it's your time now to take whatever gift you have inside of you and do something with it, make use of it. And this is the opportunity that you have in front of you. And yeah, it's going to be a lot of work, or it's going to be a lot of responsibility. But I think there's this part of you inside that is really ready for this quest, ready to kind of like, now it almost feels like you've been waiting around, like the Fool is the Knight of the Holy Grail, right? Just doesn't have a quest yet. So it's just kind of like hanging out around the castle, just eating and just, chilling. And then suddenly you have that revelation. Suddenly you have a quest. Yeah. And I think that you've been looking for a quest. You've been waiting for the right quest to come along. But it could be that it's been so long that the Fool started to wonder if that quest would ever come along. Started to kind of get comfortable just being the kind of, the knight without a quest. And it's become the kind of just like the normal. Maybe it's kind of like when you're in between projects and we just kind of get comfortable in that in-between state. Yeah. But now that something is coming here and Spirit is showing you this big responsibility kind of lands in your lap, it kind of feels like a movie, Someone's just relaxing under a tree thinking they got it easy and there's no quest for them, no job for them. And then suddenly something literally falls from the tree and lands in their lap. And well, now they have an adventure. It's kind of like when you're, I was an EMT for a short period of time, and kind of like you get comfortable when there's no call and you're just relaxing and you're just kind of, you're playing cards with your friends and you're eating your lunch and you just kind of ease into things. That's when you get the call. That's when the emergency comes over the radio and you got to jump up and you got to do it. I think that it's something that you've been on call, basically, right? I don't know if you've ever been on call in any of the jobs that you've had, but this is like that. Because now the call's coming in. You've got to leap up. You've got to do your thing. This is what you're supposed to do. Okay? I don't think this is something that you're going to want to refuse. Now, the idea behind the Three of Swords here, in this position at least, is telling me that this opportunity is born out of some sort of, almost like an unfortunate event that happens. So maybe this is literally you, like, an EMT, right? Because of somebody's misfortune, you're getting the call that is sort of like you're stepping up. This is like the baseball player who's gotten comfortable in the minor leagues. Somebody in the majors, gets an injury or something, right? Then suddenly you're getting called up to the major leagues. And you're saying, well, this is the moment I've been waiting for, but I'm never ready for it, So the Three of Swords back here to me is that this is like somebody quits, somebody got fired, there's some kind of a vacuum that's created. Okay, there's an absence, something is removed somewhere. And that now is kind of like calling on you to fill that space. Okay, if this is at work or something, like suddenly, like someone leaves, someone quits or gets fired or whatever, and now that spot is open. And there's your quest, there's your doorway, there's your opening, you can't wait. You can't say, well, I was having lunch. I'm not going to be ready for another, couple of weeks or a month or something, or give me a few years to ease into it. No, Spirit's saying we're up and we're getting at it. Okay? And I think that this is, destiny is knocking loudly here. Okay? And I do believe that there is, there's some kind of a communication. There's some kind of it's a message. It's an announcement that gets made. It's somebody that calls you up and says, hey, we need you. It's like your pager goes off and suddenly now, you're being summoned back in. It's like a doctor who's kind of on call, yeah? And they're just sleeping, taking a nap, and then that's when their pager goes off and it says, we have an emergency, we need you. And so that's sort of taking place in your life right now. It's happening fast. Okay? It's some kind of a career or a creative thing, okay, that's being dropped in your lap. And it's a matter now of like not asking why did it happen, why now, or can I wait, It's just a matter of reacting. It's just about, it's kind of like suddenly you have all this weight strapped to your back. And we've got to push forward, okay? Up above the surface, we have the lust or strength card. It's the courage. Okay, bottom line, it's the courage. It's the strength that you're going to need to deal with this as it lands in your lap, lands on your shoulders. You've got to summon your strength. Okay, and I think that this is your courage. This is your kind of like your self-confidence. This is you believing that you're capable of handling this. Okay? It's kind of like, again, the Fool is just kind of relaxing, maybe taking a little nap. The call comes in. You are up, you are dressed, you are ready to go, you're out the door. Full speed. Okay? There's no hesitation, there's no reluctance. Because you're confident, and because I think that like this is the moment that you've kind of been waiting for. And this is that confidence that you can handle it. This is your courage. Okay, I want you to claim this reading. Hit the like button if this is starting to resonate with you. In the future position, the Four of Wands showing me that there's an element of the human timing here that is a little bit, I think something is happening before you expected it to happen. You kind of thought like, oh, okay, I can take like a nap for like an hour. And then like 20 minutes into it, you get the call. Okay, so I think you were kind of expecting it to happen later. Or you were thinking like, no matter when this is dropped in your lap, it's always a little bit too soon. We're never quite ready for it. There's always going to be that part of you that says, can I just postpone it till tomorrow? Okay, so this is one of those things that it's kind of like, it doesn't matter when it happens. It's going to feel like it's happening too soon and you weren't quite ready. You're as ready as you'll ever be. Okay? I mean, there's nothing else that you could do to prepare. The Fool isn't preparing for anything. The Fool is just kind of waiting around like reading magazines. You're in the doctor's office and you're thinking, well, it's going to take an hour for the doctor to get here, so I'll just read some magazines. I'll start really getting into this article or something. That's when the nurse opens the door and calls your name and you weren't ready, But it's time, and so you're going to get up and you're going to get moving. You're going to forget all about that article you were reading. You're going to toss the magazine down and you're going to go. Okay. There's nothing that we can do right now to prepare other than just kind of bide our time and wait for the call. Well, that's coming in, and it's sooner than you expected, and it's always going to feel a little bit too soon. But now you're here, and I feel like this is the beginning of the next season for you. So whatever this is, it's determining what the next cycle is going to be. And maybe this is now we're kind of moving into fall. Maybe this is the whole autumn season for you. As you're kind of adjusting to this new situation and kind of getting grounded in this new path. This is the card of completion. Okay? And it's kind of saying that, okay, there are doors that are closing, and that leads to a door opening. And maybe the Fool is really saying, gosh, I really just kind of like what my life's become here. You know, I don't really want to go through this door. I don't really want to start the new cycle, but we don't really get a say in that. Okay, I kind of expect the mystery card to be the Wheel of Fortune. Okay, I feel like it's happening in, the timing of it feels a little bit chaotic. Okay, feels like you were hit with something all at once instead of like a gradual, hey, it's coming, another week, another 6 days, 5, 4, 3, there's no countdown. It's kind of just like you're just kind of skipping along and then suddenly, bam, all this heavy responsibility. Okay, and this could be a lot of different things. We're going to talk about the path of the serpent, and I do want you to subscribe to the channel. Support the channel in that way. It's the best way to support the channel, and I appreciate it. Hit the like button, claim this reading. I think you're ready for this. You're as ready as you will ever be. Okay? Now, I have a ringing in my right ear. And that, to me, that always says that we're onto something here. It's kind of like there's an alarm kind of going off, and I think that it's that call coming in. Okay? Any minute now. But you're never really ready when the call comes. But you're going to respond to it anyway. You're going to answer the call anyway. This is the star card. The star is your destiny. The star is calling to you. This is who's sending the message. It's basically your soul or spirit asking you if you're going to align yourself with your destiny right now. Your destiny isn't whispering. It's sending like a 10-ton hammer into your life to say, okay, this is your job now. This is your responsibility. Are you accepting this mission, And so this is a summons. And I think it's taking you to a new phase, a new season, a new cycle in your life. And it's aligning you with your destiny. But it still is a choice. It's a choice whether you're going to kind of acknowledge that and put yourself into alignment with this, or if you're going to try to refuse the call. If you're going to try to shirk the responsibility and say, no, I don't want it. Get it off my back. I don't want that responsibility. Okay. I think that you're going to make the right choice, even though it feels like a lot of pressure, even though it feels like it is going from 0 to 100 real quick. Yeah. In the environment, you have this 4 of Cups, and the 4 of Cups is kind of like feeling like you're in that safe harbor. Okay? And tells me that in your relationship, there was a storm recently, right, that you got out of. And maybe that's part of what was going on back here, okay? That there's some kind of a stability now. Again, this is kind of the Fool being a cork on the ocean, kind of just like playing it safe, not really committing to anything, not really having a particular direction, not getting too attached to anything or too involved in anything, okay? We're just here in this safe harbor, and we're in the storm shelter kind of thing, And we're just relaxing in the storm shelter. We've gotten comfortable there. This is something that's shaking you out of this comfortable storm shelter. You're being called back to active duty kind of thing, right? You're being called back to sail out on the ocean. This is meant to be a temporary place. So since this is in your relationship position, I wonder if you kind of recently got out of a kind of a stormy or rocky relationship, okay? And you just started getting comfortable again and started feeling like things have calmed down in your life. You're starting to kind of ease into your life, and then suddenly there is a responsibility coming in. that's kind of like, again, as soon as you lay down, you kick off your shoes and you get cozy, that's when the phone rings. That's when someone's at your door and you got to get up, That's what it feels like here. It feels like this is something that you're meant to do, okay? The period of the liminal space you're in now, the in-between kind of state, the safe harbor that you're in now, feels like it's meant to be temporary. So this is something that's pulling you out of your comfort zone. And I don't feel like this is romantic in any way. I feel like this is a business thing or a career thing. It's kind of like you've gotten a little bit content with how your life is. And you're kind of like, you've figured out a way, you've learned to like it. Right? You've learned to like it. And the Fool's just kind of saying, I'm fine with this way of life. I'm fine with how my life is right now. And then comes the call. And then comes that opportunity, that vacuum that kind of needs to be filled. It's kind of asking you to commit to something. It's asking you to step up and be courageous and brave and take on the responsibility. But there's part of you that says, no, I don't want that responsibility. That's too much. It's too much pressure, too much risk of disappointment. I don't want to roll the dice. I want to stay here on a 4 where it's safe and sound and there's nothing out there there's nothing risky out there. I want to stay where it's familiar. And Spirit's kind of grabbing you by the collar and saying, no, you're getting out there, you're gonna step up. Your destiny is calling you. And Princess of Swords, in the position of the fear, worry, and concern. Part of this is that, the Fool kind of likes, you're not idle. Okay, I don't want to imply that you're not doing anything in your life. But the Fool kind of like, in this sense, doesn't want to do anything new. Because you have to start it at white belt. Like, it's going to be a lot of work. I'm going to have to learn stuff. I'm going to have to try. I'm going to have to fail. I'm going to have to ask questions. It's just going to be a lot. The Fool is kind of comfortable with how things are. Doesn't want progress, doesn't want anything new, doesn't want to go anywhere. Deep down inside, you know that your life has more journey to it, that there's more questing out there for you. But the Princess of Swords, the fear, is like starting from ground zero, starting from white belt, starting from not knowing. It's kind of like returning to being a student. The Fool is kind of saying, I've gotten comfortable not being a knight, because to be a knight means that I'm going to have to learn how to be a knight. I'm going to have to grow and develop my skills in this new situation. And whatever this situation is, if this is taking care of somebody's cat or somebody's kids or filling the role at work or taking that promotion or filling that power vacuum, right? It means you're going to have to learn new skills, new ways of doing things. You're going to have to learn new methods of communication. You're going to have to learn the procedures and learn the process. Okay. And with that 4 of Cups here, the Fool doesn't really feel like doing that. But I think you're stepping up. I think you're taking the challenge to heart. I think the Queen of Wands here is responding to the challenge, responding to the pressure. There's that pressure cooker, and this is you powering up and saying, I'm gonna match that pressure equally. I'm not gonna be crushed by the pressure. I'm not gonna run away from it. You're gonna stand up. You're gonna step up. You're gonna show up, And I think you're gonna kick some butt. And I think it's gonna be very, very good for you. I think that this is you responding and answering the call. Now, I want to look at the mystery card. I want to see maybe what this is. If this is something related to business or family or something, personal or professional. Maybe this will be some earth energy, maybe the Empress. I want to see what the result is of doing all this. Or what is perhaps the biggest resistance. If you have a prediction for this card, please put it in the comments. Let's see what we have. 9 of Swords. The 9 of Swords, the rude awakening. Right? Something is jarring you out of your slumber. Something is shaking you awake and saying, get up. Okay. And I think that this is the This is the sobering reality of things. That whatever space, whatever energetic space you're in now, maybe it's the emotional space, it's meant to be temporary. Okay? The Fool is kind of like taking a little nap under the tree. This is something that falls from the tree, lands in your lap, and wakes you up real quick. Okay. This is the card of kind of snapping back to reality, I guess. Yeah. It's the recognition that where we are right now, we cannot stay. And I think really the truth of it is that we don't want to stay where we are now. That this Four of Cups, this storm shelter, this safe harbor is not rewarding. It's not making us happy. And so this is that realization that allows us to kind of wake up, get out of bed, get our boots on, and go out there and take on this challenge, take on this responsibility, and answer the call of our destiny. This to me is like a firefighter that, the alarm goes off, and they kind of wake up, that they're startled awake. They're in the middle of a really nice dream, and this is a rude awakening. It's that really loud, firehouse alarm bells kind of going off, So I feel like this is the summons for you to wake up right now and to take advantage of the opportunity that's here, to realize that there's never a good timing. It's always going to be too soon. It's always going to be, can I just sleep for 5 more minutes? And Spirit's saying, no, now it's here and it's ready for you. This is something only you can do. Okay. Now we're going to do an extended reading. We'll do an I Ching hexagram. We'll do some oracle cards. There's a link in the corner, and there's a link right below the video here. New readings for Gemini on Wednesdays and Sundays. Be sure to watch both readings. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't yet. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you are the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you and I love you. And we are all in this together.